Yes.
For all of you, I think you know Kevin Zak. He's probably the biggest Naugatuck River advocate we have, fortunately. And he's going to do a presentation today about the Kinneytown project and the Ting Fish Ladder and the bypass channel. So Kevin, the floor is yours, buddy.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome to the Kinneytown Dam and the Tinyu Dam bypass presentation. I'm going to do my best to condense about 10 years of research into about 15 minutes, and we'll do it by video. As the video is running, it's going to the Tinyu Dam. This is the pre-Tinyu Dam bypass, which was built in 2014 at $6.3 million. What the takeaway here is it's 1.8 miles upstream from the dam we're going to be focusing.
So what will the fish do? The fish are coming up from Kinneytown Fishway. Having come up through the impoundment behind the Kinneytown Dam, they're going to be migrating along. They're going to be following the water flow, and then they're going to go right up.
How do you like your job? And I said it would be a lot easier if someone told me how to make fish. And but this is where we make fish. What this dam does, allowing shad, river herring, and others to have access to 32 miles of river, is where we make fish. There is a connection, and people are starting to appreciate more the role of forage fish in the marine ecosystem.
Passage around the Tinyu Dam complements a series of 7 dam removals and 1 other fishway on the Naugatuck River and one of its tributaries. And more are planned. In fact, there's folks in the audience who are conspiring on some future projects right now. Including in the audience today are people who have lived in the valley all their lives, and I see a few of you right now. They remember the flood of '55. They remember all of the fires and the mill closings, and they certainly remember when the Naugatuck River was one of the foulest rivers in the United States. Nothing could live in it. Did any of you think you'd live to see the day when there'd be trout swimming in the river and runs of wild shad would be passing through Waterbury?
About this part, what will it do? It's going to draw people back to the river. It's going to expose them to fish, to birds, to turtles, all sorts of nature. The restoration has been a team effort, a testament to what is possible when a community understands the value of its own natural resources, embraces the power of conservation. And by restoring this fish passage and preserving a fragile ecosystem, we fulfill our obligation to our children, our children's children, and the generations that follow.
This is in Seymour, and that's Route 8 in the background. Now, the reason why we presented the Tinyu Dam bypass first, Rick, can you hold that for 1 second?
Yeah, I'll take it up to the river.
Okay. All right. These are fish, by the way, below Kinneytown. Now, where you are, what you're looking at right now is presentation of the Kinneytown Dam. The Naugatuck River is the largest tributary to the Housatonic. Can you stop that right just a little bit more? Just another couple of seconds right there. All right. So what do we have here? We have a problem that all of us are that is attached to all of us in this audience, and for the 250,000 people that live and work in the valley. And what is, if you do not know you have a problem, you can't fix it. Now that $6.3 million Tinyu Dam bypass is right now, I would consider it, or I nickname it, the $6.3 million paperweight. And here's the reason. Fish that are migrating into the Naugatuck River, the Housatonic, and then take a right into the Naugatuck River are stopped 1.8 miles below that Tinyu Dam bypass. This area is the largest Western Long Island diadromous habitat, and it's blocked on by the Derby Dam about a mile up, a little bit over a mile from the Naugatuck River. You could see that. You could actually see the Derby Dam on this aerial view of my drone shot. So we're going to take a right up into the Naugatuck River as fish have done for thousands of years, and they will travel about 4 miles up to the Kinneytown Dam. So if fish, eel, and lamprey cannot get beyond the Kinneytown Dam, they can't get to the Tinnu Dam bypass, to the 34 miles of restored fishery. And what you're looking at right there is the Kinneytown Dam. It's a reverse shot. We're going backwards upriver. What you're looking at to the left is what they call false attraction. That is causing fish to get drawn to the base of that dam, where they usually die. And for 5 years, I had been looking for fish in the Naugatuck River, actually for the past 10 years, to film. And then 5 years ago, I started to explore below the Kinneytown Dam, and then a light bulb went off, and that was where all the fish were. Other than stocked fish in the 32 miles up to Thomaston, all the fish, the natural fish, were down below this dam. And what this presentation will show you is 5 years of my cameras going below the Kinneytown Dam. So you can run it now. So there must be safe, timely, and effective fish passage of 2 ladders at that dam if the diadromous fish are to make it up into the 32 miles above it and all the way to Thomaston. So there's all kinds of varieties and large quantities of sea run and riverine fish that are seeking to pass the Kinneytown Dam right now. And if these fish are going to use it, they need to use 2 instruments. There are 2 ladders at Kinneytown. One is to the left. It actually looks like a ladder. It's one of the longest fish ladders in Connecticut, and it has a zigzag entrance. The eel ladder is by the entrance, and you'll see it in a moment. But what's important for you to know is that, hold it right there, this bucket right here is how eels are transported above Kinneytown. And what you're going to see is this eel ladder almost never works. And only in 5 years, I've only seen it work once. So we're going to walk down along this ladder, and the eels are supposed to be caught in a net in that blue box, but it's always been broken and non-functional. I only saw it working once. So the eels crawl up between this mess right here and get put into that bucket. Now, all other species, so yeah, stop right there. This is the entrance to the main fish ladder. This was built in 1999. And what you need to know, again, is a fish ladder, to be efficient, should be short and straight. This is neither. This is one of the longest of probably 70 fish ladders in the state of Connecticut. And to make matters worse, it has a zigzag entrance, like a Z. If this dam was built today, it would be required to pass 95% of the fish that are below this dam. And my estimations is it's probably on its best day passing 10%, and probably as little as 1% of the fish trying to get upriver. So go ahead, you can run it. You'll see how long it is. So these are the only 2 ways to get past, for the fish to get past Kinneytown. These fish are caught in pools. These are in what they call the bypass reach between that ladder and the spillway. As you can see in 2002, none of these fish passed, but these are sea lamprey, and you're going to see this is late at night, I've taken my cameras up to midnight down below the dam to see what's there. And you're going to see that there's a lot of activity, and these fish are struggling to get upriver to spawn. These are all sea lamprey. There was over 200 of them this year, and only 8 of them passed this year up that fish ladder. By the way, there's a camera on that ladder. These are Atlantic salmon below Kinneytown. They're just like a 5-minute walk below that the entrance to the fish ladder, and they're stuck. Those are about 7 to 8 pound fish. This is a salmon right at the base of the spillway. No Atlantic salmon passed that ladder this year. These little eels, they're called elvers, come from 3,000 miles away to migrate into the rivers and live for 10 to 15 years, and then migrate back out into the sea to spawn. Nobody knows where they spawn. They reached $2,000 a pound a couple of years ago. This is a dead end for these baby elvers, where you'll see where it's dry, they fall off once they reach that area. So they climb a vertical wall 20 feet high. No elvers passed in 2020. I've only seen 3 American eels, 1 dead beyond Naugatuck and Waterbury. This was one night this summer. This is where all the fish are. That's just one night. This is the base of the dam. No American eels passed up or down in 2020. These are sea-run trout in the same location. They're pools below that dam. They get stuck there. Go ahead, you can run it. So I separated them in kind of species and the year of 2020. No sea-run trout passed in 2020 this year. This is an American shad, we believe, which is a highly sought after species. And anglers drive 100 miles to fish for these guys. These are striped bass below this, that's the tail race. That's where the fish ladder is. Those are striped bass in that same area. These are smallmouth bass that are underneath slabs of cement and between the rocks at the base of the Kinneytown Dam. No smallmouth bass passed. These are schools of white suckers below the dam. This is where, again, I can't emphasize enough, this is where all the fish are. They're trying to get up to Thomaston. There's all kinds of species down there. This is a bowfin that was trapped down there in a pool below the dam. It's an ancient fish. Now these are grouped, the next clips are groups by years. So we don't have enough time to go by species. That's a striped bass in 2015. These are trapped lamprey that are dying below the spillway, trapped between the cement. That's an Atlantic salmon. And these are schools of fish and baby eels below the dam. This, again, this is where all the fish are. This is the problem. They can't get up to the Tinnu Dam bypass. Those are the numbers of creatures that passed the ladder in 2015. And now we're moving on to 2016. These are sea lamprey. That's the way the ladder was for years. Every year I went down, that's what the ladder looked like. And you're going to see that it's just in disrepair. They simply did not care and maintain it. These are fish jumping at the base of the dam. Again, these are in pools below the dam. These are gizzard shad below the dam. And this is what passed in 2016. The focus is that this ladder never worked, despite what you're led to believe. So these are just pools that dry up, and these creatures are predated. Nothing passed in 2017. This is a rescue of lamprey. That's what was being put in those buckets. Channel catfish, 27 sea lamprey out of a couple of hundred passed the ladder. 1 American shad, no elvers. And now we're in 2019. Again, the fish just pile up at the base of this dam. Those are shad, gizzard shad. Again, it's all trapped. That's why I was able to film this. Despite an abundance of fish, safe, timely, and effective passage, go ahead, has yet to be documented or observed at the Kinneytown hydro plant facility. This is what happens to the fish when they can't pass. Those are dead lamprey. The water recedes. Those are elvers being predated on crows. That's lamprey caught in the steel of the dam. The takeaway is it's very hard to witness this. Every time you go down, if I told you to go down to see this, it would probably be gone. It's either eaten or washed away. So the evidence gets washed away very quickly or eaten. This is that wooden ladder where the elvers climb up. They're remarkable creatures. They go underneath that fish ladder, but they also try to climb the face of that wall, that spillway. And these are some shots a little bit more directly, and you have to crawl into there to see them. Those are elvers climbing up the wall. And this is what happens to them. They just get up there and they fall. Now, Rick, I don't know if you want to talk about this plant, but this is 1.2 miles downriver from the Kinneytown, and it is in violation of its exempt license. This plant's supposed to be running, and it hasn't been running since 2012 or 13. It's been abandoned. So we're going to take you in there. The neighborhood kids and everybody goes in and out of this. It's a safety hazard. This plant, again, is supposed to be running through their permanent, and it has a lot to do with the fish passage. It's directly connected.
I'll talk later about the requirements for operation and exemption.
Excuse me, Rick?
I'll talk later about the plant requirements.
Okay.
Who owns the plant?
So it's owned by Enel, which is a power company from Italy. They're one of the largest in the world. I'll answer the question at this point. So you have a plant that is required to operate in order for the dam to maintain its exemption. So it's a federally regulated dam covered by the FERC, but it's exempt from permitting. So its permit doesn't come up like other dams, but it has to meet certain performance criteria. And one of those is that both generating facilities, both the one you saw by the fish ladder and this one downstream in Ansonia, both of them have to operate. And because they don't operate, fewer fish are able to pass. So we'll keep going through this. Kevin, you want to pick back up when we get to the dam?
Yep.
Or I can talk about it. This is the spillway they're proposing to run more water through to prevent that false attraction back at the dam where water's coming over the spillway, something we're not in favor of. And this just shows you from the plant, that's the reservoir diversion. So this is the dam itself. And we have a separate concern about the condition of this dam. We don't, because it's a federal dam, since the Patriot Act, we no longer get the reports for this dam. And we've questioned with the FERC the condition of the dam. The owner supposedly is filing reports, but what you can see there, that's the face of the dam. Water comes right through it. And I'll be honest with you, living downstream, you can't feel very safe with this thing there. And you'll see the rebar just comes through the supporting steel. It's all washed away.
Who owns the dam?
Kinneytown Hydro Project is owned by Enel, E-N-E-L.
The Italian company?
Italian company, yeah.
They're headquartered in Rome and 40% owned by the Italian government.
So we're at the end of our video here.
In 1987, I remember people coming to me and saying, we've got to decide basically how clean we want the Naugatuck River. What fish do we want to live in the Naugatuck River? And we undertook a survey of the habitat and said, you know something, historically, this river had great runs of anadromous fish, including American shad. We should have shad back in this river. That decision helped drive what standards of water quality then we all of the communities up and down the river sought to achieve. So that was an important part.